Hello and welcome everybody to the Tournament Center. I am Paul Chian, joined here by, dare I say, the more successful of the Luises that play on the Pro Tour. Pro Tour champion, Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan champion, Luis Salvatto. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Today is a good day.
It's a good day, it's a good day. And you know why it's a good day? We're covering blue-white control.
Yes.
I know I might have covered it at the last Pro Tour, but that was modern. And if you're wondering who's got the monopoly on covering blue-white control decks, it's this guy. All right, so Luis Salvatto, you decided to play blue-white control.
Yes.
Why?
Because Teferi is too strong and make the deck work.
Yep.
It's a really nice card and it's a huge advantage in the battlefield and can gain cards, solve problems, and win the game. So
yeah, it basically does it all. Basically does it all.
Yes.
Yeah, and BDM gave me this ridiculous stat, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I mean, you already told me that you were currently undefeated without, you haven't dropped a game in Constructed. You have a 14-match win streak in Constructed. That is insane.
Yes.
I guess it's not too bad given that you won the Pro Tour. But yeah, let's just go ahead and dive into your deck here, blue-white control. And of course, if you're going to be playing a blue control deck, we of course can start with the Counterspell. So kind of tell us about these counters.
Well, this allow is another Catchall card because not only Counterspell, also solve triggers and situations that sometimes happens. And then 3 scatters and 1 negate because the decks usually play more creatures in the main board, but you don't want to have 4 copies and just 3 and 1.
Yeah.
You can also split 2 and 2 and
Yeah. Yeah, and because there's a lot of card draw in the deck, so it's nice
Yes.
to have that mix to have
Yes.
answers to everything. All right, moving on. We have our counters, but now we have our removal. We have 1 copy Fumigate, Gideon's Reproach, Seal Away, and 4 Settle the Wreckages.
well, the thing is, this is one of the best removal for 2 mana when you are blocking, or, well, not blocking. Then the Settle is a special card with Teferi because sometimes you play on turn 7 with backup Settle and you already knew that you will win that game usually.
That's usually the game right there?
Yeah, and for me it's not good. It's not really good today because there's so many good creatures like the Scruncher, Phoenix, maybe Hazoret is not too popular, but it's.
Yeah.
But you want to have one against green decks and some life.
Yeah.
And the Gideon's Reproach is because we play Titans, so sometimes you want to play the Titan on 6 to deal with 2 creatures.
Oh,
It's the only way.
the Gear Hulk.
Yes,
Right.
I like to say Titan.
Yeah,
but
it's effectively like a Titan. So that makes sense. I mean, this was the only card that I looked at and was
Yes.
like,
And also kills-
you could play a 4th Seal Away.
Yeah, and
but-
also kills Kiran. That is an issue.
Oh, of course.
On
Yeah, yeah.
2.
With Seal Away does not.
Yes.
That does make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Moving on here, we have our catch-all cards. This is kind of more removal, but a little more versatile, right?
Yes. Well, cast out is incredibly good because you can cycle. You usually don't cycle unless you don't have lands. But it's a good another use. And Blink of an Eye is a really good card. Sometimes it's like a cryptic command,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's to save the Teferi.
Yeah.
Like 5 and tap 2, blink anything else. And then the commit memory is good to have the memory in the graveyard, at
Okay.
least 1. And the commit is it's kind of cast out.
It's like some between these two, something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
And I actually saw you play, and you were doing some very tricky things with Blink of an Eye, protecting your Teferi, drawing a
Yeah.
card, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've really been impressed by this card just because
Really good.
allows you to kind of make a lot of cool plays.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, moving on here, we have our card advantage and win conditions. Oh, so much blue, so much blue. I love it. Let's talk about these
Beautiful.
cards. Yeah, beautiful.
Okay. Well, a lot of versions play Pull from Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the latest version. It's really good, but if everyone knows that you play that version, it's better to play at least a few Titans to have a surprise effect.
Right.
And then the Titan is the best friend of Glimmer in a lot of matchups, and that's why we change the pools for Glimmers and Torrentials. And the Search for Ascanta is this plus this is the engine of the deck.
Okay.
Because even a lot of games you even drawing 2 cards per turn is not enough sometimes. But with Ascanta and Teferi, you can activate Ascanta on your turn, and tap, activate again.
Oh, wow.
And you usually, if you are allowed to do
4
that,
cards
yes.
in a turn.
Yes,
Right.
it's insane.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense because, you know, we've seen some versions of blue-white control recently play no win conditions.
Yes.
Right? Just Teferi, using Teferi to just basically mill out the opponent with the emblem.
Yes.
And so kind of why did you decide to go with the Gear Hulk here instead of that?
Well, you also need a win condition in the Pro Tour because you don't want to draw.
Right,
But I think it's a powerful card also.
Sure.
Because, it also articulates with the cyborg because I have more creatures in the cyborg. So if they put removal for creatures, it's not enough, and they cannot bring too many removals.
Right.
So at least one creature is survived after the removals.
This just gives you the more win conditions because after sideboard, if you just have Teferi, then people are like pretty easy. I've even seen people bring in cards like just cranial extraction effects. Just get all your Teferis and then you have no other ways to win.
And also, if the people don't expect the Titan, it's too much better because you can kill a creature in combat.
Yeah.
Also, the effect to flashback.
No, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of people have been winning with Approach and Gideon and stuff like that. So having this, it's weird. It's like people not expecting Gear Hulk from blue, but that's, I guess, how the metagame has shifted.
Yes.
All right, rounding out the deck, we have our utility lands. Talk briefly about kind of these lands here.
Well, this is a 4-off easily because you can cycle in late. And this card is for the mirror and sometimes to fill your graveyard for the Ascanta if you are a bit flooded and need more cards, and also to mill the opponent if you -3 from Teferi or commit.
All right.
And then Field of Ruin is a really good card. At this moment it's not great because the meta game, but it's a really good card. And then this one and the Arch of Alaska are 2 other useful cards to gain advantage also.
Yeah, there's a lot of utility here in these lands. That's pretty excellent here. And then, of course, finishing out the deck, we have, you know, our basics with the Glacial Fortresses. So, again, 14-match win streak heading in so far. Hopefully I didn't jinx you. Hopefully you continue to kick butt.
Okay.
But, yeah, this was blue-white control for myself, Paul Chian, and Luis Salvatto. We'll be right back with more Magic after this.